Hi everyone, today we are looking at the new Hourglass Curator palettes. People seem to love them or loathe them. The question is, which side of the fence are you going to be on? Watch on. This is what the Hourglass Curator palette looks like. I chose Expressionist, and these are all four of the shades are metallics. So annoyingly, this doesn't stand up, which, you know, for £67 you'd have thought they could afford a hinge. It's also very, very lightweight and tinny. Kind of feels like an old cigarette or tobacco tin. This is not a good thing. So I'm just going to hold it up like this. I'm sorry it's a bit awkward, but it doesn't hinge open. At the top, from this side, from the left, we have metallic, which is a pink opal. Next to it, we've got another metallic, which is a warm medium peach. Then we've got a taupe brown here. And then we've got a true gold bronze. That's how they describe the shades. Now, let's have a look at how they swatch on my hand. And I mean, you know, the names may well not match up with what we see on the back of my hand, but take a look at this video so you can really see under good light how the colours kind of work together. As I said, all four of these shades are metallics. We've got a really beautiful soft pink, a gorgeous peach. I mean, that's really lovely. Really, really soft. But it's not an orangey peach. There's a kind of bit of gold in there, little bit of warm beige, very easy to wear, I feel. Well, I hope. That's kind of what it feels like to me. Next, we've got a lovely bronzy shade. It's not a very goldy bronze. It's more like a burnished bronze, which I really like, actually. That's going to be very easy. And then this lovely what I think is a bitter chocolate. That's also metallic, but as you can see, actually, if you compare it to the level of sheen with the others, it's not quite as metallic as the other three shades. But I think what's nice is we've got the peachy shade, and then we've got this lovely soft pinky shade as well. So you get a little bit of a cool nod in this quad. I was really unexcited by these palettes, and even when they were kind of leaked, they just looked a bit boring. The thing that's interested me though, however, is they are, as we say in the UK, a little bit Marmite. Some people really love them and other people really hate them. So that's why I thought they were worth a go. So I popped into Space NK, and I have to tell you, I went in and out and in and out over the last week, just not sure. The one I was attracted to was this one. Because it's all metallics, it just seemed more interesting than the ones that are a combination of sort of mattes and then a couple of shimmers. I thought I'll give it a go. I have not had a happy history with Hourglass when it comes to eyeshadow, because I'm just going to start putting a little bit of this sort of chocolatey shade in my crease, because I bought the singles where you had they sort of slotted into the palette that you bought, and I was really underwhelmed. They were pretty expensive for what they were at the time, although I just don't remember, and probably now if I looked at them they probably seemed mid-price, but they just weren't, they just very, very dull. It took me a while to get over that kind of whole experience, and then I discovered the scattered light ones. I've got two. I have Ray and Smoke. I have to tell you, I absolutely adore these. However, I can't fit my finger in them, and what I really want to be able to do is, you know, go in there and smudge, and I kind of can't, and that slows me down. The thing that is interesting, however, and I have put them on my hand just to kind of show you, these are, oh dear, now which one's which? Yes, okay, so this one is Ray, right. So this one is Ray, and this one is Smoke here. Yeah, Smoke and Ray. They are very different. Obviously, they're completely different. I just want to kind of, you know, emphasize that, because even though I've gone for the metallics in the Curator palette, it's got nothing, they've got nothing like the sort of the sheer sparkle that you get with these. I just wanted to kind of clarify that with you, and just to, you know, to kind of emphasize it. You can see they're very different. They don't have that same depth. It's kind of like they're suspended in this beautiful light. I suppose hence the name Scattered Light, which I have to say, I think for once a brand has got the name dead on right for an eyeshadow. Okay, so they are very different, but it took me a while. So as a result, I was like, oh, do I really want to give them another go? But as I said, it was the fact that they were polarized. I would read reviews from people who had kind of bought just normal customer reviews, and they absolutely loved them and said that they were very forgiving on sort of mature eyes. So I thought I'll give them a go. But I did only buy one palette because they did seem to me to be really very expensive for what you get. And actually, having taken it out of the box, this is so tinny, as I said. And also there's a mirror. If I can just quickly show you that mirror. It's kind of indented into the packaging. The whole thing is so cheap. It just feels really cheap. And this kind of packaging, which, you know, was kind of kitsch in a way when the Hourglass £6 face palettes came out, that kind of thing, that they're like kind of like old 1920s or 1930s throat lozenges. That's kind of quite a cute look. But the fact that this doesn't stand up unless you do that, doesn't stand up at different kind of angles, you've got to do it like that. And even then, actually, with gravity, it kind of just flops over. It's just very cheap. It really is. Actually, what it did make me think of, though, sometimes, and I do it myself as well, if I'm reviewing like a palette, I might say, oh, it's plastic, so it just feels a bit plasticky. But I mean, you know, lots of things are plastic and they feel fine. It's not that. This isn't plastic, and this is honestly probably the cheapest kind of finish I've seen to date, probably. You know, very, very cheap. Having said that, this is going on very nicely. Let's give it a fighting chance. So, as I said, I went for this because I was most interested in what they could do with the metallics. Because, as we know, that kind of ethereal, luminous powder, Hourglass does do really well. And I was interested to see whether they could sort of really translate this into an eyeshadow without it just being a little bit meh or a little bit too kind of clunky, or chunky rather, not clunky, I'm sorry. That's why I went for that. Now, they are named after painting movements. So to that end, as I said, I've got Expressionist, so I am at the Edvard Munch end of the painting, which is, you know, he painted the Scream, and I often feel like that. So maybe there's an affinity there, who knows? Hopefully the palette won't make me feel like that. And then there's also Futurist. Again, that's a combination of mattes and metallics. Modernist, Idealist, Realist, and Minimalist. Now, Minimalist is the one which is all four mattes. And I mean, I swatched all of them in Space NK, and I was slightly underwhelmed. I was. But I could see that the texture was nice. So I kind of went for something that I would get, that I was excited by, as ever, you know. Let's see. I kind of feel that they deserve a second chance when it comes to eyeshadows, even though I had that dreadful experience, and I remember being really irritated because it was a waste of money. Because actually, they redeemed themselves with these beautiful scattered light. They're just magnificent. They are just magnificent. But as I said, my finger can't get in there, and I'm just an adult human, so I don't know. I can't be the only one. In fact, I know I'm not the only one, because I mentioned this ages ago in a video when I first started my channel at the beginning of the year, and at least a couple of you wrote and said, yeah, you can't fit your fingers in there either. So now, what do you think? I was thinking that, given that I've done this one, I was thinking of putting the opal in on my lid and see if I can kind of blend it in nicely and see what happens. It might be too light, it might be not, it might not. That actually, it is too light. I've changed my mind already. That is too light for my lid. I'm going to go for the peachy shade, and then maybe we can put the opal, you know, in the inner corner. So, oh, that's nice. Okay, that is rather nice, isn't it? Yeah. That went on very nicely and very smoothly. Now remember, I've got old crepey lids, and it's not made them worse. That's kind of where I'm at these days. Just don't make things worse. That's all I ask. I'm not looking for improvement. Low expectations. Warren Buffett said that about a happy marriage. Marry a woman who's got low expectations. That's probably, you know, marry a man who's got low expectations as well. Or just be with people who've got low expectations. Maybe that's the secret. Okay, so that is that. I actually really like that. I'm just going to look in my mirror, which is getting a bit grubby, and I need to give it a bit of a clean. But I'm way at the top of the house, and the cleaning stuff is at the bottom, and I'm just basically too lazy to go downstairs. But I'm hoping you're not going to judge me. Right, what do we think to that? That's quite an easy look, and I think it's quite a forgiving kind of tone, and it didn't take very long. I mean, I was chatting to you. I didn't need to take quite so long with the old blending. I'm sure I didn't. I'm going to put a little bit more of the sort of what I keep thinking of as a sort of bitter chocolate colour, just to give it a little bit more drama. Well, not so much drama, but maybe a bit more depth, because that way I think there'll be a little bit more contrast. Now, as you know, this is meant to be metallic, but when I put it on the back of my hand, it didn't seem that metallic, as you probably saw. It's not metallic at all, actually. And it's not reading metallic on my eye, or is it? Actually, maybe it is. There's a slight sheen. I wouldn't say it's metallic. I'd say it's got more of a satin thing going on. I mean, not really satin. We're not talking, you know, Barry Manilow's blouse when he was singing I Can't Smile Without You or something. Good grief, where did that come from? But anyway, I'm just saying it's not that kind of satin, but it has got a bit of, it's got some sheen to it. Okay. Now, why don't we try putting a little bit of the opal in the corner? So, now this is a pink opal. Oh, that's good. Can you see that? Yeah, it's got a bit of, it's got that sheen. It's kind of metallic, but it's not glittery metallic. It's like a soft metallic. Probably, I hate to say it, not unlike this kind of finish, in that it's metallic, but it's not, it's kind of a matte, soft metallic. Have I described that well? I'm not sure. I don't think I'm describing it very well at all. But it's got a softness to it. Now I can see why people like these. Now I can see it. Yeah. It's not shimmer as we know it. Yeah, that's really nice. I do like it. What do you think? Is it reading very shimmery to you? Because to me it's really not. I'm just going to look again. Yeah. And can you see how it blended? I'm just going to bring you in closer. I know it's not finished, but just to have a look, can you see how, I'm just going to close my eyes, can you see how it's just all blended in really nicely? There's no harsh lines. And I went in quite heavy with that bitter chocolate because I was chatting, and it has blended really, really nicely. Am I going to have to eat humble pie? I don't know. I'm sorry, there's some furniture removal going on off stage, so I apologise. There's weights machines that are having to be moved from one room to another. I know, it's kind of that kind of household. I mean, I'm the only one that doesn't use this equipment, but you know, when you've got adolescent boys, it's all about the weightlifting. It really is. It's all about the lifting huge amounts and kind of bragging about it, and then yet not being able to lift a bag of shopping and put it in the kitchen and even put it away. How about that? Lifting a pint of milk and putting it in the fridge. Yes, that doesn't go on either. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there on that eye because I think it's very nice. And I do think that with a little bit of mascara, and I didn't mention it, I bought the Hourglass Unlocked. Now, regular viewers will know that I love the Hourglass Unlocked, and it's only ever come in black, so that's what I've used. Because, you know, you make do, don't you? But now it comes in espresso as part of their permanent range. Hooray, this is really good news. So I've got it, it's brand new, and I'm going to put it on and I will show you. It's such a great mascara. If you have not used this mascara and you enjoy a tubing mascara, I think this is probably the best tubing mascara out there. And I say that only because I've gone through 3 tubes of this in black. This is obviously my first in brown because it's only just come out. And the Givenchy L'Interdit mascara is also a tubing mascara, but I'm still on my first one and I'm blown away and extremely impressed with that one as well. The only reason why I would say this is the best one is every time I get to the end of it, it's still fabulous. And I haven't got to the end of the Givenchy yet, so I can't tell you with confidence and honesty that the same thing is going to happen. But this formula is fantastic. I don't think they're going to let me down just because they've changed the colour, but I just wanted to let you know. So afterwards, I will put this one on. So now let's go on and use the bronze shade as well, because I think that is going to be worth a go. So first of all, shall I, what do you think? Do you know what I'll do? I'm not going to put the bitter chocolate on this eye. I'm going to use the bronze as the crease shade, and let's see how it goes. It may be that we need to put a little bit of the bitter chocolate shade in the corner. I know I keep calling it a bitter chocolate shade and they don't call it that, but you know what I mean. I would just like to say at this stage, only because I've used the word bitter and bitter chocolate, I'm still really bitter that I haven't been able to get a curated, custom-made Hourglass palette. I know they've taken them off now and they've finished, but we didn't even get the chance in the UK, and I feel very hard done by. Anyway, I'm living in hope. Now this is interesting. So this bronzy shade is going on very nicely indeed. That's interesting. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a... Oh no, we're not. I have misled you. I've used the bronze with the brush that I had a bit of the bitter chocolate on. So it's actually a combination. Do you know what? Let's go with it. Let's see what happens. So all that's happened is the bronze has darkened up a bit, as you would expect. But while that was not my intention, it's actually rather nice. So there you go. Necessity is the mother of invention. Although I think I'll probably misuse that phrase. Okay. What I'll do now is I will use a clean blending brush and put more of the bronzing shade on the lid. Let's see what we get. These are going on so nicely. This is not what I expected. Well, it's not that it's not what I expected. It's kind of what I thought it could go either way, because, as I said, the customer reviews are polarised, you know? I mean, it is £67, which is expensive. I mean, it is expensive, especially for sort of tinny packaging. But look at this. This is very nice. I think this is very nice. Ignore there's a bit of fallout, but I think I didn't tap off, so I don't think we should be blaming Hourglass for my competence, which I think by now is well documented. That's really very nice. So we've got bronze on the lid with a clean brush, and we've got bronze and the chocolatey bitter chocolate shade in the crease. What do you think? Shall we put, I mean, that's a much smokier look. What I'll do is I'll put a little bit of the bronze using my Bobbi Brown. This is the ultrafine eyeliner. It's like a flat brush, and it's quite useful actually. I have to tell you, as I'm using this palette, tell you what you can see, that the shade, the eyeshadows have kind of been plonked in. There's a kind of gap. It's a bit weird because they're not refillable. I mean, there's nothing here to say they're refillable, but you can see gaps sort of in each corner. That's going to get really messy. That's a shame. They haven't really thought about this. I don't know why they've... Anyway, 12 months shelf life, by the way. Not that I pay any attention to that, especially when it comes to Hourglass, but you should know that that is the case. And they're made in... I think they're made in... Yeah, they're made in France. So I'm putting some of the bronze underneath, like that, just to sort of tie it in. Because I mean, if you can get a nice warm bronzy look with this, I mean, I don't just mean for summer, just generally, that's a really easy look to wear. That could be really good. Okay, so that's the bronze underneath. I think what I need to do is take a clean brush. This is my Eyeshadow 02. And what I'll do is I'm just going to not so much clean it, but just give it a little blend here, because it did get a little bit harsher than I'd have liked. And I have taken it up quite high, possibly higher than I maybe should have done, although that does look nicely blended, I have to say, because the shades are so lovely. I'm going to put a little bit of the peachy shade in the corner. Oh, that's nice. Can you see that? Gosh, that's a winner. So we've basically got, out of this palette, so far, I know I haven't finished, I'm just saying, we've got a warm look and we've got a cooler look. And what's interesting is this shade worked really well with both, to its credit. So that's really nice. I'm just going to have a little look and just see how I can clean up, because I'll tell you what does occur to me. This is sort of unrelated to this, but you know how I've got ray and scattered light on the back of my hand? I keep looking at it, and what it has made me think is if you got the complete matte palette, which is the first one, is it Idealist? I'm going to look it up now so you know what I'm talking about. No, it's Minimalist. You could, I suppose, then put some scattered light on top if you wanted to, with some glitter glue, if you wanted just to kind of lift it of an evening. And actually, I'm now tempted to kind of do that, because with Ray in particular, which is so sheeny, shiny and wet look, it would probably look really nice. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm already like thinking about another purchase, but I'm just saying, if you were interested in these and you kind of were attracted to the mattes, maybe that's a way of making them a little bit more versatile, you know, perhaps for the evening or an occasion or whatever. Okay, so we've got the warm bronzy look here with a bit of peach, and then we've got the cooler look where we've used the peach, but we've also used the opal in the corner. I had my all-nighter spray thinking, well, if it wasn't enough, maybe I'd need to show you how it is without it, and then we go in again and then see whether the spray actually lifts it and, you know, enhances it. But honestly, I just don't think you need it. I think these stand up perfectly well by themselves. I mean, I've got a little bit of opal there in the lower part of my lid, and then I'll do the same here with the peach. Look in my mirror again. I don't know how I managed to get eyeshadow on my nose, but you know, I never said I wasn't messy. Okay, now I haven't put anything underneath apart from a little bit of the chocolatey shade, and now I'm wondering whether I should try putting a little bit of bronze under there, but maybe it'll make it messy. Let's see. I'll just put a little bit more of that, of the chocolatey shade, just to tie it in. And I'll tell you something else, these are so soft and so lovely. I just don't feel the need to add any eyeliner or kohl. I just think they've blended so nicely that I've got plenty of definition. You know, I'm just going to put a teeny bit of this on the upper lid here, but it's just, they are really, really nice. Yeah, I totally understand why people have written and said what they've said about these. It's just, they are expensive. I mean, they are. You're not talking about Dior here. I mean, it's ridiculous. You can get a Dior Quinn for £58 and, you know, you are, with that, you are buying into the fact that it's Dior. But here, £67 seems a bit steep, doesn't it? But they are lovely. And out of the four, they're all really good. There's not one that's patchy. There's no funny business or no monkey business, as they used to say. But I think people don't say that anymore because we all know how clever monkeys are. I think that's probably why people don't say that anymore. Anyway, can you see I've just put a little bit at the top here just to smoke it out a little bit. This is very nice. Okay, I'm just going to go and clean up and then I'll be back and I'll put some mascara on. Oh no, I won't put mascara on. We'll put the mascara on together because we'll put the brown mascara on together. But I'll just clean up a little bit and I'll be back. I unwittingly started putting mascara on my right eye, so let's put the left one on together. It's kind of, it feels so familiar because I'm kind of used to using this as a mascara. But it just goes on so smoothly. The brush is small like that, and it just picks up all your tiny lashes if you've got them, and I have got some tiny little ones, but also if you, for longer lashes, it kind of, it really does do the root to tip thing. It really does. And this is a good shade. It's just a deep brown. There's no red in it. That's very nice. And you definitely get that, the length without the clumpiness, and it stays not clumpy. It stays like the quality just stays like that until the end. That's what I found with the black one, till the end of the tube. It's just a really lovely, lovely mascara, and it comes off really easily at the end of the day, of course, being a tubing mascara. Yeah, this is performing exactly like the black one. You can get drama if you go in with a, you know, for a second, if you go in for a second coat. Okay. So here we had the opal and the peach with the dark chocolate, and then here we've got the bronzy shades. And just to remind you what the palette looks like, it's very hard to hold it up when it doesn't. I do think that I got, you know, a cooler look and a warmer look really effortlessly, I have to say that. And they blended like an absolute dream. I mean, it just takes no skill at all, obviously, because I've managed it. And also, what's lovely is this shade is, it's very versatile. It's not so dark as to be sort of difficult to blend. It's just the right, it's just the perfect kind of bitter chocolate that's not too dark, blends like a dream, and is fine with both the cool and the warmer kind of side of the colour story. I'm really impressed by the quality of these. I really am. It's just so much like their face powders. You know, it's got that same quality of kind of effortless blending, truly effortless blending. What do you think? And have you considered these palettes? I mean, or are you like me? Maybe you thought, oh, you know, they're not that interesting. Do we really need another kind of neutrally palette or more beigey tones or whatever? We've seen this before. I have to tell you, this kind of quality, not really. I can't say that this is this common, this kind of quality, this kind of blending, and the effortlessness of it. And also on very crepey lids, they just blended like an absolute dream. My caveat is the packaging is really cheap. It's quite a hefty price, and they're not refillable, even though they look like they might be refillable because there are these sort of funny gaps in the corner. And the mirror is kind of, it's not really that usable. It's not very big, and it's not big enough, and it's got this funny kind of indenting which kind of looks stylish but makes it less practical to kind of use. It's got a groove here which makes me think you can open this, but although I'm not quite sure why you would open it. And not a groove, it's got a, let me see the little hole thing there's a hole at the top of the mirror, but I'm not quite sure why you would open it, so I'm a bit confused about that. However, packaging aside, the quality of these is absolutely spot on. It really is. I'm blown away. I'm going to go and have a look at the other ones and see if there's anything appropriate. I would have liked a slightly more interesting colour story kind of thrown in there, because they are all a bit samey. I mean, they're not really samey, but they are all kind of variations on a theme. I think I chose the right quad for me because these are the kind of shades that I really like. And as I said, with the mattes, if you have got one of the scattered lights, maybe that's an interesting way of kind of adding a little bit more kind of sparkle and interest. But all in all, I think these are really lovely. It's kind of the price and the packaging, but in terms of the quality and the product themselves, fantastic. So let me know, you're going to go for them, and what do you think of this look? And is Hourglass a brand that you're interested in, or are you kind of fed up of maybe the palettes and maybe you don't feel that, you know, the range is that versatile? The other thing I just want to say, the brown mascara performed exactly like I have known the black mascara to perform, the tubing version. I always forget what this is called. This is the Unlocked. This is a win for me because I love a brown mascara. Nothing gets me more excited in makeup than a brown mascara coming out in a range that I really love. So I'm delighted by this. So let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. Please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.